what is the binomial nomenclature of mango?
Hello, welcome to Real and Real Characters. Even just about 50 years ago, each family had a family doctor. Somebody who knew the entire history of the family, the ancestors, about the grandparents, uncles, aunts, everybody. Not only that, he would also know about the nature, the character, the quirks and idiosyncrasies of each and every family member. So much so that if a woman came to him with a headache, he might first ask her whether she had a fight with her husband and just tell her to go have a hot cup of tea and take a walk on the beach before he sent her for a CT scan. Or if a mother came to him with a child who had a stomachache, he would know whether the kid was faking it to cut school or whether there was a colic problem. Today, in this pandemic, we are not sure whether we have a common cold or the dreaded COVID. And so the doctor's diagnosis becomes all important. But what is important about the diagnosis is something you should listen to Dushyanth Sridhar about. Because at this time when OTT platforms are gaining great popularity and tremendous viewership, Dushyanth Sridhar has found a lot of inspiration from this doctor character in the web series titled Dr. House MD. Take a look.
House is an American medical drama television series which ran from 2004 to 2012. The series' main character is Dr. Gregory House, played by Hugh Laurie, an unconventional misanthropic medical genius who, despite his dependence on pain medication, leads a team of diagnosticians in New Jersey. Many of his hypotheses about patients' illnesses are based on subtle and often controversial insights.
I became mad after this character. I remember having watched like for 17 hours at a stretch in a day like that for weeks. The impact that House makes is by being very, very casual, how much of diagnosis he can make on medical cases. In medicine, more than addressing the issue, like giving medicines for the disease that the patient has, it's more important than that to diagnose what is the problem. Finding the root cause. He doesn't just do that through studying. He observes a lot of things.
What if the fever is the innocent bystander? Fever could have been set off by something he picked up anywhere. Could have been a bug he got here.
Or a bug he gave here. He gave it to your patient. That's why her tumor shrank. The virus went after the cancer first.
And from small instances that could be occurring in his general life, he takes clues out of it and tries to fit in to get an answer to that diagnosis. So there's this happy disorder, so euphoria.
He's going into shock. Due to cranial bleeding. We need to relieve the pressure. We need a surgical team. Foreman, get out!
They all fall prey to this disease where they keep laughing and they don't know how. The house goes back to the real house where they had been inspecting. And then he realizes that the water tank over their house was partially open and pigeons were using them. So pigeons in their body carry certain pathogens which will not harm them, but which will harm human beings. Like how we spoke about the bat theory of corona. That has caused, my grandmother used to keep telling, don't, echa panni kudikada. There is so much of meaning to it. Those pathogens in my mouth, I could still have many, but that would not harm me, that would harm you. And then when we used to have those overhead tanks in our independent house, and they used to come cleaning, my grandfather used to go and check if the lid is closed. That made me relate to this. See how even small little things matter in life. You know, this process of linking. I have believed that, Raji, education systems should also be like that. We should be more integrated in approach. See, we used to have a separate English lesson. It was called comprehension passage. It used to be Ram and Shyam went to the market. They bought mangoes. They came back home. Below, question. Who went to the market? Ram and Shyam. What did they buy? Mangoes. 5 marks. I'll get 10 out of 10. I don't believe this is the right way. If every subject is treated as mutually exclusive with each other, where they have no connection, then comes the question of understanding which subject you like the most, which subject you hate the most.
Well, I'm a degreed geologist, and as a geologist, even in the 1970s, when I was studying the magnetic fields of the Earth, what we found was that the magnetic fields were changing. And my immediate question was, what does that mean to us? Because we're living in those fields. So I'd ask my geologist friends, and they kind of had their little blinders on. They said, don't ask me. I'm a geologist. I don't know anything about biology. Go ask a biologist. So I'd ask my biologist friends, and they'd say, don't ask me. I'm just a biologist. We don't talk about magnetic fields. Go ask, a physicist. And it's a beautiful example of the way we have been taught to think, to compartmentalize the world that we live in and the natural forces in the little boxes that we're comfortable studying, called chemistry, biology, geology, physics. And the truth is, nature doesn't work that way. Nature doesn't know about those boxes. There is a world out there, and there are natural forces and fields. And the magnetic fields of our planet are a very, very powerful part of our lives every day. Every form of life is influenced by the magnetic fields of the earth. Every blade of grass, every bacteria, every hamster, every goldfish, every CEO of every corporation, every leader of every nation. Though there truly is no them and us, there's a we when it comes to the magnetic fields.
I feel subjects have to be integrated. While I am studying a passage, questions should be asked related to maths. Tell me, what is the binomial nomenclature of mango? See, a lot of things can come through integrated approach. I feel Dr. House got this integrated approach into me. The impact that he made in me, Raji, is while I deliver my lectures as well, normal kalakshepams, normal upanyasams on Srimad Ramayanam, Sri Mahabharatam, wherever needed, relevant, I bring in maths and physics there. I bring in chemistry there.
1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 10. 10 into 4,32,000 years is 43,20,000 years, which is one Chaturyugam.
The payasam that emerged from the sacrificial fire when Dasharatha was performing Putrakamishti after Ashwamedham was brought in a golden pot with a silver lid or a silver pot with a golden lid. I make sure I explain why Valmiki has mentioned golden pot, silver lid. Why one is aurum, why is one argentum? What is the heat conductivity that we see in those metals? To say that all our rishis were also Dirghadarshis, but in terms of science and maths as well. They were not people who were just writing stories. Bhakti is one aspect. Jnanam is the other aspect. Both have to be combined. And this, I can tell you, the impact House made is immense.
There is an ancient parable where a few blind people try to describe an elephant. One touches the trunk and says an elephant is like a thick rope. The other touches the tail and says, no, it's like a snake. A third touches the legs and says, no, it's like a pillar. And a fourth touches the ears and says, no, an elephant is like a big fan. Our education system is something like this. It teaches children to think with blinders on. And so they don't see the connection between the various subjects that they learn. And as a result, they often miss the big picture. We think our body is biology and the mind is psychology. But here's a thought. A thought carries an electrical charge, which sends signals throughout the body and brain through the nervous system. And depending on whether the thought is positive or stressful, it can cause health or illness. It's all connected. Body and brain, it's all connected. While it is good to specialize in a subject, it's equally important to understand the context of that subject, to see how it fits into the larger scheme of things. If children don't understand the context of the subject that they are learning, how will they be able to choose where they want to fit into life, into this world? And this is the tragic situation which many, many youngsters find themselves in, studying subjects without understanding how it impacts them, or working in jobs which make no meaning to their lives. If we want to create holistic individuals who can be builders of a nation, we need to really rethink the way we teach and learn.
Meetings from Abhinava e-Pathshala, alongside registrations which are open for the new course titled Shri Vishnu Sahasranama Deepika, we are also opening registrations for two other courses which we have offered in the past. One is Bharatiya Sarabodhani Level 1. This is a comprehensive e-course in English that tries to bring forth the quintessence of our Desham Bharata. So this shall comprise of 20 e-lessons, 1 hour each, on analysis of the Ramayana, Mahabharata, the Puranas, and appreciation of ancient Indian architecture and Sanskrit literature. 20 e-lessons, 1 hour each. This is Bharatiya Sarabodhani level 1. Prabandha Sarabodhani shall comprise the life history of the mystic saints, the Alvars, the works given by them, the Prabandhams, and excerpts from acclaimed commentaries or Vyakhyanams and the Divyadeshams which have been revered by them. This is a comprehensive e-course in Tamil. This comprises of 24 e-lessons, 1.5 hours each, totaling to 36 hours. Both these e-courses are open to all for registration. As always, Bharatiya Sarabodhani level 1, Prabandha Sarabodhani, and the new course Sri Vishnu Sahasranama Deepika. The entire content which has been mentioned for each of these courses is accessible throughout a 48-day period, close to over 1.5 months. The period will be 20th August to 6th of October, beginning on Varamahalakshmi Vratam and ending on Mahalaya Amavasya. So throughout this 48-day period, you can view the content as many times as possible. The registrations are open to all. To know more details, register and procure the course, kindly visit www.desikadaya.org/AEP.